The Venezuelan Supreme Court has ruled that tomorrow's planned inauguration of Hugo Chavez for his fourth term of office as president can be postponed because of his illness. The president is still in hospital in Cuba and no alternative date has yet been set. But opponents say that if he can't be sworn in tomorrow, someone else should temporarily take power. Well, our Washington correspondent Matt Fry is in the capital, Caracas, and joins us now. Matt.
Well, Kathy, whatever you think of Hugo Chavez and his policies, no one doubts the fact that this is a man who really loved life and lived it to the full. Or perhaps I should say, loved. No one doubts that this is a man who loves, or should I say loved, to hog the limelight. And the reason why I'm not sure which tends to use, Kathy, is that I'm not entirely sure, like many people in this country, whether Chavez is actually still alive, such as the secrecy around his state of health as he languishes in a hospital bed in Havana. One day before his supposed, now delayed inauguration, he's thus left his country in a rather bizarre state of limbo. In this warren of 6 million souls, there is one face that you just can't get away from. Hugo Chavez, paratrooper turned president, populist thorn in America's side, custodian of the biggest oil reserves in the Western Hemisphere. Kissing children, punching the air, keeping an eye or two on you. And if you should be near a television set, chances are you'll be treated to some of the highlights of his career.
Yesterday, the devil came here.
Calling George Bush the devil at the UN.
Right here. And it smells of sulfur still today.
Serenading the country in his own television show every Sunday night. Or singing for Colonel Gaddafi last year as his old and now dead friend was hiding in the desert. Chavez, the personality cult turned variety show, is everywhere. But Chavez, the man, has been conspicuous by his absence. He's been back in Havana, guest of his best friend Fidel Castro, for more treatment on a stubborn cancer. But these pictures are old. Chavez hasn't been seen or heard in a month. He's missing his own presidential inauguration tomorrow, and all this makes some wonder whether he's even still alive. I put this question, rather gently, to some of his supporters. ¿Usted está segura que no ha muerto?
No, yo estoy segura que no ha muerto, estoy segura que está viva, ni Dios lo quiera, que quiera Dios, él está muy bien.
So she's absolutely convinced that he hasn't died yet. They couldn't agree more. Within minutes, we had a flash mob declaring their undying love for their undying president. I asked them if they could imagine Venezuela without Chavez. ¿Vosotros imaginar una Venezuela sin Hugo Chavez?
No! No!
I just asked what they would say about holding new elections in case he died. A resounding no from a crowd in denial. They call this place La Esquina Caliente, by the way, or the hot corner. You can see why. With so much political passion on display and the country in limbo, the soldiers watch nervously from the sidelines. Chavez, the son of poverty, has become the champion of the poor, and of late he's been very busy cementing his legacy with cement. Everywhere you look in Caracas, there are housing projects for the poor. We went to one. For Teofila Medina and her family, 2 bedrooms and running water are a dream of luxury come true. So she's been in this apartment since December the 26th. That was her Christmas present. She's waited for 2 years to get a place like this, and her rent is precisely 0. Chavez's populism has been lubricated by a country awash with oil. The notorious slums of Caracas have had some relief, but it's all come at a price. The national debt has soared, industries have shriveled, foreign investors fled, and crime is epidemic. More than 20,000 murders last year alone, and this country isn't even at war. Look closely at the skyline, and you notice one building that's become a symbol for all the ills of Venezuela. They call this the Occupy Tower. It was supposed to be a bank until it was taken over by squatters. In the heart of the business district, this unfinished building has become a fortress run by armed gangs well beyond the law. The people who ran this country before Chavez came to power have been relegated to the sidelines. And in the well-heeled part of Caracas, there's more loathing than love for the president.
Chavez is the worst president we have here in Venezuela.
One of the things he did was to divide the Venezuelan people into parts, and he created a lot of hate.
If people think the revolution of Chavez ends with his death, are wrong, very wrong.
Caracas is a tale of two cities in a country bitterly, even dangerously divided. But whether dead or alive or somewhere in between, Hugo Chavez will continue to hold this place in thrall. He really does have the last smile. So what we do know is that the inauguration will not take place tomorrow and that the Supreme Court has sanctioned this as constitutional. But the rest we really don't know. Now, will there be an inauguration in 90 days or perhaps 180 days, as some have hinted? Will there be fresh elections? Will the Vice President, Nicolas Maduro, anointed by Chavez as his eventual successor, former bus driver, take over the reins of power? Could Chavez actually come back from the near dead in order to take up residence and power here in Caracas? We simply don't know the answers to these fundamental questions, and that does leave this country in a state of limbo. It will, for instance, ensure that the black market rate between the local currency and the dollar will skyrocket even more. And it's not often that you can say about any country that so many fundamental points remain unanswered as they do today. Catherine.
Matt, in Caracas, thank you.